Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions. Hello, my name is Beth Binder, and I'm the Director of Admissions at Mid-Michigan College. Welcome to our Career Roundtable series. We're excited to have you join us. As you consider different careers, you may be asking yourself questions like, what should I study? What will my career be like? And what challenges will I face? To help you answer questions like these, we've invited local professionals to share their knowledge and experiences with you through a discussion hosted by Mid-Admissions Representative Chris Pellerito. If you're joining us live, we hope you'll ask questions in the chat. If you're watching the recording, add your questions in the comments and we'll follow up with you. To explore the opportunities available at Mid and put your future plans in motion, connect with us at midmich.edu/admissions.
Good morning. Welcome to a pretty consequential conversation. I'm Chris Pellerito with Mid-Michigan College, your gracious host this morning. And besides the fact that Mid is noted for some remarkable healthcare programs, it doesn't matter. Today what matters is you, and we're going to have some very, very good quality conversation this morning. Last year's conversation I found to be remarkable, and that was a lot of the feedback that I got. My expectation, just chatting with our guests this morning, is that this one will be better. No pressure. Mid-Michigan College, just so you're aware, well, we're located in Mid-Michigan, of course. We're about 5 miles away from CMU in Mount Pleasant, and then about a half an hour north of us, we have our other campus, our Harrison campus with its quaint rustic charm. If you're wondering and you're fully trying to get acclimated, Mount Pleasant is about an hour north of Lansing. There are 28 community colleges. We are one of the finest. But we're going to continue to roll here. Off camera is my much better, far brighter colleague, Annette. If during the course of this conversation you choose to send in a question, feel free to do so. Annette will be fielding those. I did receive a few questions in advance, and we'll be going through those this morning. But if, during the course of this conversation, the next 45 minutes or so, if you feel compelled, feel free to send that question in. Annette will field it, and we'll go from there. We will address that. Quick thank you to Noah behind the camera. He is the remarkable guru that makes this all work so smoothly. Again, as you know, we're live, so any little snafus, we roll with those. That's kind of how life works as well. Okay. I already alluded to it, but we have Dave, Beth, and Tristan here with us this morning, and I've asked them to briefly introduce themselves and give you a little bit of their origin story, so to speak. I might ask you to elaborate on that because I'm a bit of a comic book fan, and superheroes they all have their origin story, so we want to know a little bit about that because someday people are going to want to know more about your origin story, so you get to hear a few folks that are further ahead on the path, so to speak. So, if we could, Dave, do you mind getting us going?
Good morning, I'm Dave Rogo. I'm a paramedic with My Michigan Health here in the Mid-Michigan area. Been a paramedic for 27 years. I am a graduate of Mid-Michigan Community College, back when it was noted as that, 1987. So it's been a while, but got a good education there, and it continued to help me out through my career.
You've been a paramedic how many years?
27.
Sweet.
Hi everyone, I am Dr. Beth Corner. I am a nursing faculty here at Mid College, and I'm also the director of nursing over at the Harrison campus. So if you choose nursing, you will definitely see me. I started at a community college. Both my parents went here at Mid. I started firefighter EMT, and I'll just say a few days ago. And then I continued on to my paramedic life, and I actually worked with Dave over here, and then continued on and received my nursing degree, and here I am.
Good morning, I'm Tristan Villalobos. I'm a physician assistant student at Central currently. I went to Mid for my first 2 years and then actually transferred to Central to finish out my degree. And like I said before, I'm currently working on my master's degree at Central. I started off as a CNA. Actually, in high school, I got my health occupation stuff going, and then came to Mid and worked as a CNA all throughout that, and then now I'm doing my physician assistant studies.
Outstanding. I've had the privilege and pleasure of interacting with each of these folks a bit, some of them a little bit more, but the interesting part is it's important for you to know that they're no different from you. They're a lot like you in where they're coming from and where they're headed. Dave, I'm going to start off on the far end, and I said I would, not throw softball questions, but I don't expect this is going to be difficult, but it's an important question. You've been in this for a while. What have you seen change in healthcare? And has it been all for the good? Has it been an evolving thing? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Probably the biggest thing I've noticed is technology. We've gone from 27, 30 years ago. We did not have the internet like we do now. We did not have the even the telecommunications, cellular phones, stuff like that. Helps the doctors, nurses, whatever, the instant information that you have to look up patients. During COVID, there was a big use of that information because of the limited face-to-face with doctors and nurses. And also in the technology realm, I was thinking about this question kind of this morning. Even the equipment that we use in EMS, you can remember we used to lift, push, everything, and it was all ergonomically wrong to do so. And a Michigan company is one of the 4 leaders, Stryker, that helps self-loading cots. We don't have to lift, we don't have to twist. There is some of that in the field, but I think that is another step to extend my career that is a forefront. And the equipment we use is just leaps and bounds. Things are a whole lot different. I remember as a kid watching Emergency, and they had the little orange tackle box, and now we have stuff that we can talk to the doctor, send them stuff, and they can assist us in the best patient care and the best place they need to go to immediately, and but far better outcomes because of that.
Yeah. Beth, what have you seen change?
I think there's a lot more camaraderie. I think that you have disciplines that work very closely together because they're so much more closely linked than what it was way back then. And I've also noticed over 25 years, that there's these lulls in healthcare where things are going really, really well and everybody's on the top of their happiness game. And then there's like these things that happen, whether it be COVID or something like that, and the morale kind of goes down and then it goes right back up. So for me, technology happens, but I also see where there's changes and shifts in the mindset of healthcare. Can I do healthcare? Can I not do healthcare? Is it a positive environment? Is it a negative environment? Is there burnout? Is there this and is there that? And it's like a roller coaster. It just goes up and it goes down. And, I see healthcare as very bright, and I see a lot of camaraderie and discipline, interactions, and communications that improve. And so to me, that's really exciting and also very heartwarming, knowing that it does get better, it always improves, and to me, it ends on a positive note. So I like that.
Is some of that built in? Into the system where, the camaraderie is it all organic? Or is some of it orchestrated by the employers, by the healthcare systems?
Well, I would assume it's got to be a little bit of everything. But I also think that people start out in healthcare in one discipline, and I think of healthcare as limitless. There's a spot for us all, and there's always a place where you can move up and move on. So, for instance, I started as a basic EMT, and then I went to paramedic land, And then I went to nursing, and now I'm in education. I still work at the bedside too in the ICU. So it helps because when people start out, you don't always know what you want to do. When you're in high school, you don't know what you want to do. I mean, you might have an idea, and then I thought I wanted to go work behind a desk. I actually, when I did my co-oping, I worked behind a desk working on computers, and then I found out, well, I didn't really like that. And so then I went and worked on a fire department, and then I was introduced to medicine, and then I just kept going. So it's okay, first of all, not to know exactly what you want to do, and be open that you don't have to just pick a profession and then stick with it. You can keep moving up and on. And so by having these different experiences, I learned to work with other disciplines, and I think it brings people closer together.
Sure. Makes good sense. So Tristan, I'm going to go the other way with this next part of the question. We're talking about what's changed. What do you expect? What's coming?
So I mean, even just my short time in healthcare that I've been a part of it, kind of piggybacking off what Dave was saying, like I've actually gradually gone from paper EMRs and doing everything on paper and everything, gradually to the internet. So everything that I use is.
What's an EMR?
An EMR is an electronic medical record.
Ah, gotcha.
So any patient that we get, you can see what their allergies are, anything like that. And so I had the experience of using paper as well, and then going on to technology. So as even just for my field, we kind of are evolving to use more technology and be able to be kind of like what they were saying, face to face with doctors when you're not actually face to face.
Do you expect it's going to change dramatically and rapidly over all three of you? Do you expect over the next 10 years it's going to dramatically and rapidly continue to change?
I think there will definitely be changes. I don't think it'll be rapidly. I think with everything in healthcare, there's loops and there's things you got to go through. And I think with us, healthcare is always changing, so I think there will be definitely changes, but I think it'll be a little slower than we think. So.
Frequently with institutions, people will say, like education, or, that's a good example, where people will say, well, it's the same stuff. They'll repackage it, they'll rename it, but it'll come back around again. And 20 years ago, they talked about that. Does that happen in healthcare?
I think healthcare is forever changing. I go in for one shift, and the very next day, there's something new almost every day that I work. You cannot get bored with healthcare, because every time you think, oh, goodness, we're all set, nothing's going to change, you come in and there's something new, whether it be a new piece of technology to help us look things up, something new on a computer program, new ways to do things, which are done through evidence-based, of course, to make sure things are done well.
Sure.
But to me, it's an ever-changing environment, which is so cool because I don't get bored.
I think one thing we're going to see more is on the EMS side of it, more treatment at the home and not transporting. That's not
Really?
That's not new to the system. A lot of large places do that because of the ERs being so congested with, and I don't want to say non-important patients, because everybody's emergency is important to them. We have to treat it as such.
Sure.
But there is a lot of things that could be done outside of the ER, and we're seeing that being driven more in larger cities, and how that comes to our community is a process that's underway. And I think that's going to be a big change for EMS. We see it in the Ann Arbor area and a few other places that have more the large hospital with a lot of resources that they could pull onto, and the fact that we have the technology that the doctor can see them face to face, can instantly look up a record, can instantly see what is going on. There might be more of a avenue there where this patient is treated at home, not come into the ER, not come in and then follow up with a doctor. And I think in our field, that's one big step I see probably within 5 to 10 years, just the way that people are talking, that could change the face of our side of healthcare, and then, of course, change your side also as far as in-house, because of the load on the system.
Go ahead.
It wasn't very long ago, Chris, that the paramedics didn't even have the ability to bypass to send them to a cath lab when people had a heart attack. It wasn't that long ago that a stroke they would come in, but we start treatments on a paramedic. In the paramedic aspect, they started treating those at home, bypassing the ERs, taking them directly to the cath lab for intervention, calling those providers at home, sending those test results. So I agree. This is going to be a rapid or definitely a change to see coming.
I know EMS professionals are already super well prepared and trained, but based on what you're saying, is it going to mean more training, more responsibility, more requirement?
There's always more training. I mean, there's just like
There
Beth was
should
saying,
be,
it
right?
changed. It should be. We're trying to advance our field. We're trying to do better patient care. And the patient care just doesn't start at the ER doors or when the doctor's here. This starts at our initial contact with the patient. And that's one of the things I love about my aspect of healthcare, because I didn't start out to be a paramedic. Like you, this was something that was not on my radar, and I've grown into it, and I love it. I love going to work every day and the change you make in people's lives. But it is that initial contact starts everything rolling and directing them where they need to go, the best place to get that care. And I think training is ever going on. We constantly do new things, try new things. We're, like you said, we've seen changes in 25 years. Things have come back around, or maybe it's changed just a little bit, but
Sure.
it's always in a progressive manner and that's part of the fun of being there. You learn new things, and it's not the same old thing for.
Are your colleagues and I'm thinking particularly in the emergency room, the ICU, EMS, it's a different territory. Are those folks wired differently?
I think all of healthcare is wired differently. We are,
Are
you know,
are you laughing because you know this gentleman?
Okay, so first of all, like, I mean, we develop tough stomachs. I mean, we do. If
I'll
you're
bet.
working at a bedside in any capacity, you will develop tough stomachs. I remember going to paramedic school, and one of the paramedics was terrified of needles and blood. And I remember putting his IV in for the first time. And if you're watching, I won't say your name, but you know who you are. We had to lay him on the ground with his feet up because he himself was like, I'm terrified of blood. Guess what? He's one of the best medics I know today. And guess what? He was able to get past that. So we develop tough stomachs, and we typically develop type A personalities. We're very sometimes direct. We have a funny sense of humor. They call it black humor. So we are a different beast. But I would say that we are also balanced with people that don't have that personality, and they keep us grounded, and they keep us humbled, and they keep our empathy alive. And so it takes all of us and all of our personalities. But yeah, we're typically wired differently.
Okay. Tristan, typically I would lead off this conversation in asking a question, something along the lines of, why healthcare? But I want to frame it this way first. You ready? Yep. Any comprehensive career satisfaction survey that you look at lately, you'll see dozens of careers. The one that's intriguing to me and is always distinct is healthcare, and here's why. It's the only one, when you look at the characteristics of it, and here's why I love what I do. The only one that healthcare has is the one that has happiness, meaning, and stress. None of the others, I mean, teachers who love their job don't like the stress. Why? Why do people want healthcare?
Yeah, so healthcare is one of those careers that, you know, bad things happen, but there's also really, really good things that happen. You know, just in my experience, being a healthcare worker and getting that satisfaction of walking into a room and, you know, seeing a patient that you've helped or treated or cared for, and, you know, they have that smile on their face because, oh, you know, you've helped cure me, or you've helped, you know, fix my problem. It's one of those things it's like a feel-good thing for you. So, you know, you look at a patient who you've helped, and, you know, you've helped them grow. Even as a CNA, I would have patients who, from day one, I worked in a rehab unit, and they would come in, you know, and they were immobile and weren't able to walk. And, you know, after a few months, you see them grow, and they're able to walk out of the facility by themselves. Wow. You know, and it's a great feeling. And so you take that stress and you kind of correlate it with, you know, yes, it's stressful now, but in the end, it will be okay. So
I frequently reference, like, when you do home remodeling and stuff, it's like, oh, it's a tangible reward. You get to see this freshly painted wall. But you're describing something on a little higher level. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
What do you think? Why? Your job, I would imagine, is one of the most stressful around. Why? Why would somebody want that?
It's a challenge. I
Yeah.
would say if you're looking for something that's not the same every day that you come in,
Yeah.
it is. There are no 2 days. Your field is also. I don't want to just sound this around pre-hospital, but
Sure.
I'm listening to Tristan. That long term, and you also, Beth, the long term that you get to see. We don't necessarily see that as a paramedic. You're short term with the patient. You might catch them later on down the road, pick them up again, or pick a family member up, or see them in a restaurant. And you were on this call with me. I really appreciate all you did in that. But the stress is there. There's no doubt about it. We've all used the analogy of a duck swimming. On top, it looks nice and calm, and underneath, your feet are just a paddling because you're trying to figure out what to do. But
Sure.
I can go back to one situation. I remember I was just starting out as a paramedic, and had a new person with me, and we had a chest pain that arrested in the ambulance, and we brought him back, and the guy asked what happened. I said, well, you died, and we brought you back. And he said, man, I sure appreciate that. It's just, I would say that there is a lot of stress, but there is a lot of satisfaction. Family members that thank you, even if the outcome isn't what you want. There's still that we appreciate everything you did. You did the best you could, and I think that's what I take away from my career.
What I always think about is what I do matters. And every job matters. It doesn't matter if you do healthcare or not. Every job matters, but on a different level. And so when I go into work, if there is a bad outcome, I know that I gave them every opportunity. And when you do something good for somebody or their family when they're going through the worst times in their lives, every word I speak, every gesture I make, it matters, and it matters to somebody else. And to me, granted, there is stress, and that does put a lot on you, for sure. But it is those ones that you see years later. They'll come up to you in a store, and they'll be like, "Do you remember me?" And I'm very good at faces. I'm very bad at names, and I'm like, and they'll tell you what you did for them, and because of what you did, there's this, it's like a catalyst for other positive things in their life. I got to see my grandchild, or, I went to college, you saved a child, and now they've gone off to college. So what you do it makes such a difference, and that is wonderful. Good or bad, it's a difference.
And you're still bedside sometimes, and you don't have to.
Correct.
I mean, you would be just fine helping to oversee a remarkable nursing program here. You'd be fine with that. But you choose to essentially work lots of overtime in a highly stressful job. That's why?
I just love it. I absolutely love what I do. I understand, like I see TikToks too. I'm on TikTok, and I see some people that, don't have some positive things to say sometime, but I love it. I love being at the bedside. I might be one of the only doctors at the bedside treating patients, because they move up, they move on. And granted, I have a wonderful job here at Mid, and I'm very thankful for that. But I still make a difference, and it keeps me current. And when I'm teaching those last level nursing students the emergent and critical care things about nursing, I like to be relevant. And so one, I like to be relevant for my students. But two, it's addicting. I love to take care of people. I love the puzzle. I love the critical thinking. And I just love making a difference in a positive way.
Huh.
I'm terrible, aren't I, Chris?
No.
I'm an adrenaline junkie.
I'm not often speechless, but I'm speechless. Tristan, do you love science?
I do. I love science. That was actually my favorite subject growing up.
Good.
Yes.
Did you hear that? Part of the reason is it the same for you? Did you love science you're still involved with the education part of it.
I honestly didn't love science until a little bit later. I didn't love history until later. When I was in high school, I just, those weren't my favorite topics. I mean, I loved, believe it or not, English, and some other these odd ones. And then I didn't really appreciate it until after I got out of school. And then when I started looking at the medicine side of science, then I was like, ooh, this is my world.
Ah, cool. Did you love science in high school?
Not so much. No, I'm
No?
more of a numbers person.
Yeah.
Like That's actually what I went to mid for, was business. This was not on my radar. So I've learned to love it. I mean, there's some interesting things that go on and why the body does what it does, why people react to this or that, and that's where we see the changes because of science, because of research, following things. So yes, it does interest me now, but in high school, no. It didn't
So
interest me.
at what point along the line did you say, I want to be a superhero? I want to study more science. I want to study more, the body and helping people that way.
I can tell you exactly when I decided to get into more of the healthcare, local fire department at one of my family's an emergency scene.
Mm-hmm.
Talked to some of the guys what they did, and that's where I started, just like you started. I was a fireman, medical first responder, EMT, and it just grew from there. So again, it was awesome to hear you say I started as a CNA, and I've worked up now. I'm going to be a doctor. We started as EMTs. I'm probably the person that didn't go on beyond the paramedic. I'm still in the paramedic, but now I'm into the teaching side of it. So
Cool.
I want to help with those coming up. It could be that person that has the 20-some years under their belt and can give them even what's outside the book, give them that kind of knowledge, that some real life experiences.
Is it overstating it if I ask you, do you love what you do?
Do I love what I do?
Yeah.
Yes. My wife will tell you right there.
A good deal.
When we got together, she's never saw a person that liked to go to work as much as I did.
That's cool.
I do every day. It hasn't
You're
changed.
blessed.
I might not come home wanting to go back to work, but go in there you want to, yes. If you even consider the medical field in any aspect, I think you will enjoy it. And it'll be so fulfilling.
And I loved every role of the healthcare team that I was on. It's not just I love nursing or I love teaching.
Yeah.
I loved being a firefighter EMT. I loved going into people's homes and making a difference there and calming and taking those vitals. I loved when I was a paramedic and making those independent decisions. I love coming in and taking over not that small bit of care, that emergency side, and then dropping them off. I love taking care of the families and seeing the whole process through. So it's not just like a one and done. Like, each one of these areas has value, and each one is a fulfillment. They're just a different type.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah. And you're going to find, I often use I don't know, maybe it's because I'm Italian, I often use the comparison of it's a grand banquet of life, and you're going to find what you really like to consume and be part of. Class of 2017?
Yep.
High school class of 2017? Okay. So you haven't been out that long.
No, not at all.
Wow.
All right. What's been the biggest challenge? And please, no, I won't even qualify the question. What's been the biggest challenge so far to get to the point where you're at now?
Yeah, so I would say, honestly, if I'm being completely open, it's just continuing school. I never actually liked school. I loved science, like we said. But healthcare is an ever-changing, always learning kind of field, and so for me, I love what I do. I love having this family around me of healthcare workers. But the hardest thing for me is to always continue, doing school. It's a long time, but it's very rewarding. I don't know if you guys kind of feel the same way sometimes, where it's like, man, I got to learn again. I got to learn. But I love it still. I do. That would be the hardest thing for me, is always having to go to school.
And you're, again, just want to qualify, or not qualify, I want to confirm this statement. You are willingly going into this.
Yes.
Okay. Knowing it's going to be, how much do you have ahead of you? Another year?
I have, about another year, just under a year, about seven months, so.
Okay. And then following that, you'll end up in the middle Michigan area, you expect?
Yep, I expect to be hopefully around the Mount Pleasant, Elma, maybe Midland area. So.
Okay. Yeah. And, which kind of leads me to the next concern. There's a great concern in the world that, we're not going to have enough skilled tradespersons in the future, and we're not going to have enough quality teachers in the future, and we're not going to have enough, et cetera. But a chief concern, it seems to me, is we're not going to have enough quality healthcare professionals. So, and it's not as simple as, we'll just, throw some marketing dust at it and get more kids interested. What's the answer?
You know, I really love that question, Chris, because I hear this
I
all
try.
the time, right? There's such a shortage, and there's a shortage of every healthcare person, right? There's a shortage of medics, and there's a shortage of nurses at the bedside. And part of that, okay, maybe we don't have as many people going into it, or maybe there's more people that are retiring. But you know, another piece that I was thinking about, there's a lot more options. When I thought of nursing back in the day, I thought of you work in a hospital, you work at the bedside. And that is not necessarily the truth now. There are so many healthcare positions that are not at the hospital. And so that has now brought down the amount of available nurses at the bedside. So some work in offices and some work in home care, but now there's telehealth, so they're working from home. And they're working for doctors' offices, and they're working on computers, not even working with people. So there are so many other options for healthcare professionals. So if you don't like working with people, you don't need to. If you don't want to work at the hospital, you don't have to. So there's just more options, which is also bringing down the amount of available positions or available people for those positions in those roles.
Okay.
And so, yes, we do have a decreased amount. But I also think part of it is because there's so many different roles and options that have come about over the years with these technologies that are also driving down that a lot.
This is interesting to hear. Thank you for articulating that so well, because it seems to me 10 years ago they said there's not enough nurses. Today they still say there's not enough nurses, but I have never heard it framed that way. So thank you for that. You want to add anything to this?
I think we're seeing in the EMS field there's a big decline in licensed new paramedics. I mean, drastic changes from, I think one figure was around 1,250, and then it dropped like 250 the following year, so a big loss. I think part of it is getting our field out there, that just what we do, the mindset still, I think sometimes we're just ambulance drivers. We just are sometimes a glorified means of getting you from A to B, and it's so much more than that. Going into the schools and presenting things like this, where we're presenting what we do, that it's a very rewarding career. And again, like we've mentioned, it can be a stepping stone if you want to do that. Both of you have been started, at our level and that have moved up. We know a lot of people that have done that, and this is a good field for getting your feet wet, seeing what you like. Maybe you don't want to be patient side. Maybe you want to do more administrative stuff like that. But getting to your hands-on, the base, the ground level healthcare is a great thing. And I think we need to present ourselves in that light, that it is a career opportunity. It is a education opportunity. Not everyone wants to go to school all the time, so they, in a matter of, depending on where you take your classes, you could be within a year, you could be licensed and functioning in this position. And you're still going to take education, but it's more relevant to what you're doing. And so I think that's our target. I know My Michigan Health is working on that. We're providing our own paramedic and EMT classes. Some of the surrounding services have done that for years, just trying to bring people in. But again, you've got to want to do it, because it's not a job you're going to do if you don't like doing it. You'll be burnt out. You'll be done and gone. And so that's a big thing. And us as long-term providers, giving that environment of those that they struggle. I don't understand it. I'm not catching on. That's fine. Let's figure it out. You do it as pairs. You're not there on your own. You've got someone to bounce it off. You've got doctors and nurses to bounce things off. So I think that's one of the big things we're trying to do to make the field more grasp, get people back into it.
And I do like the ROI, the return on investment, because when you look at this, I mean, there's a lot of jobs in the world to pick from. And healthcare, I mean, you're right, you can be licensed in 1 to 2 years. You can make a livable wage. You don't have to necessarily go spend ample years over at a university. I mean, you can become a nurse at, let's say, mid, come out with a whole lot less debt. You still make the same paycheck, and it's rewarding. So you're going to have less student loans if you need them. You might be able to just pay for it outright. You can start working, making a really good wage, and then over time, if you want to continue your education, you can while making money. And so there's so many positives about healthcare You learn more training. A lot of times when you get into healthcare and you start out small, your employer will actually pay for your continuing education. They'll pay you to take your bachelor classes and your master's classes and your doctorate classes if you so choose. So what's cool is you don't need 5, 6, 7, 8 years of college to start off with and still get into the field, make money, and make a difference all at the same time, which is cool.
It's interesting you're referencing this because I became aware recently that a student who attends a community college for nursing, upon completion of that program, and I know it's rigorous, it's not easy to get into and get through, but upon completion of that program, they're 70% done with their BSN. Is that pretty much accurate?
That's very accurate. And you take the exact same boards, you take the same NCLEX exam, whether you complete it at the community college versus the university. So at the end, you're completing the same nursing licensing exam to practice. And then, most typically, when you are done with your experience here, you have 1 year at a university to complete your bachelor's program. That's it. That's it. 1 year. And usually it's paid for by your employer.
Yes, and sometimes it's entirely offered online.
Oh, absolutely. That is definitely one of the biggest trends is you can complete it online, doing it on your own pace sometimes, and then being able to work at the same time, so you're making money instead of paying the money.
Good deal. Tristan, you know this. They often say, my background's education, and they often say, no matter how you frame it or teach it or whatever, what they're going to walk away from remembering is any little narrative one might share, any little story or, a more specific example. And that's why throughout history, people were taught via a story. Can you think of an example off the top of your head? You just referenced, you touched on, well, I was able to be part of the rehab for this person. Yeah. Can you expand on that a little bit or share a different one that stands out? One good, memorable, here's what has cemented my conviction to go this route.
Yeah. So again, when I was a CNA, I got the opportunity to see patients long term and see them every day, get better and just live their everyday lives, getting better. So one story that I like to share to people about like my healthcare experience is I had this one particular elderly woman who was in the home, and she passed, so bless her soul. But I remember my very first day going in as a CNA, she was my very first patient, and I remember I walked in, and she was always the cranky old lady who everyone was like, oh, no, you're going to do her. And so I was like, okay, I'll go talk to her, and we clicked instantly. And I remember going into work every day. She was always the first person I came in and saw, and I would tell her hello, good morning, and I would bring her coffee, and she always just appreciated it so much. And we had her family, I think it was her daughter, and one of her sons would always come in and just tell me how much they appreciate how much I take care of their mother, and just being there for her because she had gone through a lot with whatever she was going through at the time, and she was just so appreciative that she had someone to talk to and be there by her side and help her through that tough time. And we just became best friends, and I just remember going into work every day excited to see her. So
what was her name?
Her name was this was years ago.
It's okay.
Yeah, I cannot remember. No, I cannot remember.
It's okay.
So.
And I know you've worked with many since then.
Yes.
Got one you want to share?
I had a patient quite a few years ago, and I worked on a med-surg floor at the time, and this gentleman had a stroke. And this stroke was terrible because he couldn't move one side of his body, so he couldn't walk. And it took out his language center, which is on the left side of your brain, and so he couldn't speak words. And he had a very large family, and they were very kind, but it was obviously very upsetting. And unfortunately, this guy, when you lose your ability to speak, sometimes you can't write or communicate in any way, but there is something kind of cool on the right side of your brain. Some of your singing and some of your artsy side is there. So the only words the man could speak was swear words. And these swear words, it was funny. This is a true story, you guys. So he could only say swear words, and I won't say the words, but he had to nickname each one of his 4 children a swear word. So he would say, and They would respond, and they started crying, and I took him in the hall, and I explained to him, like, this is good, this is really good, like, he's saying words, and he's communicating with you in a different language. And again, he couldn't walk, and he was so frustrated, and the tears going down. And we sent him to rehab, and 3 weeks later, he comes up, the family brought him up in a wheelchair, and I remember because it was Easter Sunday. And so he comes up, and he's acting like he can't speak, and he's in a wheelchair, and he got up, and he walked across the hall to me and gave me a hug. And it's amazing. Like, these are very touching. Like, it still brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
That Christmas, he sent a Christmas card up to the floor. It was signed by all of the swear word children. And so it was posted on our wall for probably 2 years. But it's really cool because what a difference that you made for them, right? And what a difference it makes for us. I mean, it still tears me up, and it's been probably 8-10 years ago. Cool.
Very. That's a tough one to follow.
Yeah, it is.
Come on,
That's I don't like really, there's a lot of them that I can think of, but I think just the genuine gratitude when you do make a difference. It could be small, just helping get a person home because they don't want to be in the hospital in their last few days, and helping make that happen for them. Taking care of someone's child that, that they have no idea what to do, and you step in and take over and make a difference. Like you said, maybe see them down the road. This is so-and-so that you treated. I guess there's that part of the job is just those kind of stories are ones that just help you through the tough times. The patients that are not appreciative and you don't get treated very well, it's just you smile and grin and think about those that they really do appreciate what you've done, and they don't realize what you can do or what you're willing to do for them until they make that call and see, and not just the EMT, it could be the firefighters, it could be the policemen, whomever are there, that initial contact, and the outcomes are good, and people are thankful, truly, genuinely appreciative of you. And people always say, how many times have you heard, I could never do your job? Mm-hmm. And I could never do your job. I always tell them, you probably could. You just have never tried it yet, and you'd be surprised the human aspect of wanting to help your fellow man. And that's really for me, what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
That's so true because it's relatable. Every one of us at some point is going to need medical assistance, or somebody next to you is going to need it, and you might give it.
And you
right?
want that highly trained, very empathetic, willing to go the extra mile. And I think that's not just book knowledge. That has to be taught and learned too over time. You'll get that it's sometimes you step away from the book knowledge and just become that help, that
and
hold their hand and help them through it.
And our position, like, healthcare is not going away. Like,
Nope.
It's going to be here forever.
Yep.
I mean,
A
you can't get rid of us.
won't be able to do it. I don't think.
I am intrigued by what our nursing students go through, but I'm particularly intrigued when I have conversation with them about the mental health portion of their training. So I want to, regretfully, we're coming up around on the hour already. I want to ask this in 2 parts. Yes or no, have you ever made a mistake in healthcare?
Absolutely, many of them.
Have you?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
I have.
Okay, so number 1, and then I'm going to get back to what I was just referencing. Number 1, how'd you handle it? How'd you handle it?
First of all, there is the part that, oh my gosh, I screwed up. Thankfully, mine didn't kill somebody because, that's a scary piece.
Yeah.
However, you have to take that and say, okay, how do I do this differently in the future? So you basically just need to learn from the mistake because we're all human. I mean, we're not a machine. So you're going to make mistakes, and you just have to take that and ask for help from other people around. I mean, when you enter into the field, you don't know everything. You're given education to the minimum level, and then you're surrounded by people with experience. And take those experiences and learn from them. And if you're open to that, you'll do great.
Yeah. How'd you handle it?
Again, you recognize it. That's part of your training, that this was not what I was supposed to do, or this was not what I should have done at this time. You learn from it. And again, you're problem solving. Okay, we did this, now how do we fix this, and continue on. But again, like you said, I've gone and talked to people. This is what I saw, this is what I had, and this is what I did. What do you see that I could do different? And again, that experience of, okay, you recognize that, learn from it. It shouldn't happen again, hopefully, but again, your support group, you are a team. And I was, kind of going back to some of our questions, some of the changes that we've seen. I think one of the big things I've seen change too, and it kind of relates to this, is there isn't that, what do I want to say, hierarchy, or you can talk to a doctor, you can talk to a nurse, and they're not, well, you're just a ambulance driver. You're just.
But that's not how it used to be?
No, it would be you brought the patient in, dropped them off, and you left, and that was it. And now you might step right in with the doctor and help them out on certain things and be their extra set of hands, be there, because you've already established that patient care. You know what's going on, and they're very willing to work with you. And I think that's a huge change, and that makes it, I think, even better, more of an appealing career avenue, because there isn't that stigma of you're just down here and we're up here and someday you might attain to here. No, we're part of a team, and it does start from that. And the mistakes happen. Well, I've seen doctors make mistakes, and that it happens, but fortunately no one died, and it was learned from, and it was corrected, and we moved on. But that's why it's practicing medicine. So it's
Good point. How'd you handle it?
Well, kind of piggybacking off what they said, you definitely have to learn from your mistakes. You take, what you've done, and you might even be able to teach from your mistakes. So, going along to kind of like what Dave was saying, I've learned from nurses, I've learned from, even other CNAs, even being in my position now. You can always learn from everyone, and everyone has different experiences in healthcare. And, just taking what, you guys have done and what you've done and what I've done, and, just really talking about it and saying, hey, next time we can do better for this patient if this situation occurs. So really just talking and teaching and learning and just taking experiences and making a better experience for the next one.
Cool.
Isn't that how changes happen in this field?
Exactly.
Mistakes are made, and we make corrections and change the process, and hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, move forward.
Makes sense. Good. All right, part two. I said it was coming. It seems to me, I mean, you mentioned like there's a minimum level of education involved with healthcare, and it seems like, as you have all iterated, one could be learning about healthcare for the entirety of your career, and I suppose you should. But it seems to me that mental health, is there a greater challenge than that as far as healthcare goes? It just seems like that would be something that would be really difficult to get a handle on and to fully comprehend and understand. Or am I mistaken? Is it?
What do you mean, Chris?
I mean, is that the most challenging aspect of healthcare? And is that where it's easier to slip up, or it's easier to make a mistake, or the challenge is right there in front of me, and I'm not repairing a broken arm. I'm repairing something that is much more deep than that.
I do think the complexity of healthcare is a lot bigger. People are a lot sicker than what they used to be, for sure.
How so?
It used to be people would come into the hospital and they'd be there for a week and they'd be there for like stomach flus. Now your med-surg floors are like your old progressive, almost ICU level patients. Like, they are sick. They are so sick coming into the hospital, way sicker than what they ever used to be. Now they go home with home care, and they're basically where the med-surg patient was in the hospital. Now they're at home. And so that's a big shift in the way healthcare is. I would say that mental health is certainly an issue, both for the patient population, but also for the healthcare providers, right?
Yeah.
And I do think that there's a shift in what used to be taught. So you would see all the time, you have old educators, for instance, that were a little rough around the edges, like beat them into submission. That is not I can tell you that's not the culture here at Mid. We do not beat down our students. They're here to learn. We need to teach them, and we need to build them up, not, take it to them. And I think you see that shift in healthcare as well, where it used to be a lot more dramatic and mean and in my profession, and don't step on my toes, where now people are much more willing. They're seeing the value of what each other does. And so it's no longer the nurse against the paramedic or the doctor against the nurse. Instead, it takes all of us. It takes that CNA to help the nurse. It takes the nurse to help the provider. And so I think you're seeing a lot more teamwork. And so that does bring down the issues of mental health. It's a lot more workable. You can talk to, if I'm having a stressful day, and trust me, I've had stressful days, right? I mean, we lose patients, and my gosh, the pandemic, I mean, we don't even have to speak to that. That just was a nightmare for all of us. But I also found where we would start relying on each other. Like if I'm having a bad day, I could call up somebody like Dave and be like, I'm having a bad day. Let's talk about it. Not about the patients for HIPAA's sake, but let's talk about the feelings and know that we're here to support each other instead of it just being, it's me and I have to internalize everything. And so it's just more open and more positive.
I think a big thing that also we've seen over the last few years is the stress debriefing aspect of our job. And not just EMS, but maybe the fire and police, because sometimes the fire, they are volunteer. They're starting out in this career as a first responder or an EMT, come across things they're not used to. And we're able to just sit and talk and let those feelings out in a safe place with people that are trained to not point the fingers, not criticize us, here to open up. And I think that, yes, mental health is a huge thing in any job, but especially our job. And I think that over the last probably 10 years that's really taken hold, and it's helped a lot of people just understand. Because probably some of the big disservice for us is that the shows like 911 where everybody lived at the end of the day, and it doesn't always happen, and people, they don't always handle that the best way. And like we talked earlier, you do the best you can with what you have, and the outcome sometimes is good, and that's great. Sometimes it isn't, and that's what happens. We deal with it. And that stress debriefing at the hospital level, patients coming into when their loved one has passed, and just spending that time, explaining, we did this and this, and unfortunately it just didn't come out, and that helps a lot with the mental aspect of the job and being able to talk to your fellow people and without the fear of being criticized or looked down upon. And truly, I understand, and this is what I've had happen to me in the past, and this is how I handled it.
I think for my career in my field as well, something that we really learn that comes from Central, I'm sure other schools kind of say this too, but one thing that I've taken from Central being in my program is, we're always taught treat everyone like it would be your family. So if you have someone come in for something, and you look at them and think, okay, this could be my brother, how would I want to go about this? And as we kind of get older and stuff, mental health does become a bigger issue, and as generations come on, I feel like in my field we see a lot more younger kids coming in, more and more with mental health issues, and so something that I like to do is just treat them like my family, and look at them and say, how can I help them? So
That's not easier said than done. To treat them like your family.
You would think no, but for me it really is, because I look at them and think, I just picture like, you're coming in, you could be my mother, you could be my brother, you could be anyone, and I know that out there you have a family, so to me I'm going to treat you like a family member. So for me it's very easy. Other people it might not be as easy, but I like to think of the person as a whole, and I like to think of them, you're coming to me with something that I can help you with. So
Do you think your classmates bring that to this also?
I do. I have some really, really great classmates, and just speaking with them, after kind of like you guys were saying, having someone to talk to and have a shoulder to lean on, they're generally my shoulder to lean on if I go into clinic and have a really bad day, and they kind of bring me up and treat me as their family as well. So, yeah.
Okay.
The nice part, Chris, is I have a lot more good days than I do bad days. And I think that's something that, we focus sometimes on, negative things and stuff that happens and patient death and different things. But I have a lot more positive days and a lot more good days than I ever have bad days. I'm so thankful.
Yeah, good. Okay. Again, regretfully, we're winding up at the end of the time for this. So we've got a couple of minutes just for final thoughts. There's a significant number of 17 and 18-year-olds who are viewing this right now or will view this in the very near future. Final thoughts for them?
If you're considering all the healthcare field, no matter what they might be, nurse, doctor, administration, whatever, and you're looking for some place to start, this is a great place to start. The initial care of patients, whether it's pre-hospital or CNA at the hospital, that education you'll get, the experience you'll get will carry with you the rest of your career. And if you're not getting into healthcare but want a fun job during your college times, a lot of people do this also.
You know, I would say that if you don't think you can do it, I think you can. And I also think that you don't have to drown yourself in debt to make that happen. The job is never going anywhere. Healthcare will be around forever, so it's very secure. And you know what? I've never regretted a day going into this field. And I'm so thankful that there's always options. If I get tired of something in healthcare, there's something else available, and I don't even need more training. In many cases, there's just different places. You'll always have a job if you want it, which is great. And I truly do think that the people that are sitting behind that camera, I don't care if you have a 2.0 GPA, you can still do it. And we can teach you in a very positive environment. You don't have to be beat down like it used to be. So I encourage you to look into it.
I would say if you're interested in healthcare, just talk to someone who's in the field. Reach out to your fellow colleagues, reach out to the people you know, and just ask to shadow for a day or ask to just sit in and watch and observe. There's, like you guys are saying, there's thousands, hundreds of healthcare jobs that you can get into. So don't be afraid to speak up and ask and just get involved. So, like Dave said, MID is a great place to get started at. So, yeah. Or Central too, fire up.
And Tristan casually didn't reference the fact that he earned a full ride scholarship to MID a few years back. I have referenced superheroes a few times today, and do you know what's powerful? Gratitude is powerful. So thank you for being here and doing this. Thank you for doing what you do every day on a daily basis. Thank you for even considering a career in healthcare, because you're hearing it this morning. It's powerful and it's important. You know what else is powerful? Asking questions is powerful. You guys are in a very fortunate position in that you've got a super cool bunch of paths in front of you, and you've got some remarkable teachers to thank, and you should do so before you leave today. Some of those teachers are probably 15 feet away from you, so thank them for doing what they do. My superpower is asking questions, and I'm grateful for that. Okay? Keep in mind, I'll share this with you, and then we're going to close. Keep in mind that real superheroes don't often wear a cape, but they very often wear a mask. So thank you for being with us this morning. And keep doing what you do. Keep studying and stay healthy.